I, Chadwick, have returned, but I recognize that there's only one queen, the queen in the north, Chad Summerchild.
Oh man, what do I do with this guy? Can I really trust you? How do I know that you've changed?
I brought you a pine cone. Add it to the chair.
And our episode begins with Rhaenyra fondling the necklace that Daemon gave her. I wonder what this means. Oh, hi there, Sigmund Freud. Oh, guten Tag. Say, do you have anything to say about Rhaenyra fondling Daemon's necklace? Like, does it mean anything? Oh, nein. Okay, thanks, Sigmund. Tschüss. I guess it totally doesn't mean that Rhaenyra was measuring men against her uncle. So Rhaenyra is at Storm's End on a tour and has a long line of men vying for her hand. House Frey, Mooten, Shawnee, Mudd, Blackwood Bracken. It's mostly Riverlanders.
Was she not going to stop by the Riverlands on her tour? I mean, you literally have to pass by the Riverlands to get to the Vale and the North. She didn't want to make port at Seaguard or Maidenpool. On top of this, it's actually much easier for all these guys to just go to King's Landing than to head all the way to Storm's End.
Well, whatever the case, Lord Dondarrion is about to clinch the whole thing, and then he takes a drink of water. You know who shuns water? The Rogue Prince. So next to Blackwood, likely Samuel Blackwood, tries to impress Rhaenyra with talk of lineage, alliances, and protection. And he rightfully gets called a cunt by a Bracken. Likely Amos Bracken. This actually endears Rhaenyra to Amos, and you know who likes to use the word cunt? Well, Bronn. So a fight breaks out between Amos and Samwell, and Amos is dumb enough to bring a dirk to a sword fight. He gets fucking stabbed, but technically we never see him die, and both characters appear later in Fire and Blood, so... you know, maybe there's hope for Amos.
Azor Ahai reborn!
So Rhaenyra is heading home when Daemon comes flying in on his dragon and nearly knocks Rhaenyra into the sea while giving her a good old bump on the noggin. It hurts. So good. Daemon then comes before the Iron Throne wearing a crown he clearly put together in 20 minutes, and then relinquishes his kingship by dropping a sword and then the mic with the line, "Add it to the chair."
And we are back for Chad Summerchild's secrets on how to successfully pick up women. Step 1. Speak another language. It'll show that you're intelligent and worldly. Step 2. Give the woman jewelry. Women love jewelry. This is a no-brainer. Step 3. Get exiled for making a joke about the woman's dead brother. This is especially effective if the woman's mother has also died recently, and if you didn't make that joke, get framed for it. Whatever you do, do not plead your innocence. Step 4. Steal the dead brother's dragon egg and then claim you come before the woman in succession, but then relinquish that claim after you get her attention. Step 5. Spend years in war and become a king. Which one of us hasn't done that, am I right? Step 6. Try the old woman nearly overboard maneuver. I know this may seem cliche, but it's tried and true. Step 7. Relinquish your kingship like it was nothing. But make sure you get in that zinger. Now you're ready to ask her on your first date.
Anyway, the brothers hug it out, and the audience is left wondering, you know, Targaryens often married brother to sister, but really, couldn't we have avoided a lot of conflict with a marriage of brother to brother? So in our next scene, we have salted whisker fish from the Trident, capon legs nicely crisped, and lemon cakes smothered in honey. Alicent loved lemon cakes, so Rhaenyra's father had sent to Dorne for more. He glimpsed the Barrow Knight wearing boiled leather, whilst his lord wore a doublet quartered with the twin towers of Frey and the burgundy grapes of red wine. The Dornishman exchanged a look.
Words are wind!
The lord burst with laughter. He was a man quick to anger, though fast to forgive. The knight blinked. Nuncle! Flexing his fingers, grasping the pommel of his sword.
Sweet Robin! Sweet Robin! Let's continue on.
The gang is hanging out, debating who Mother liked best, which is odd as their mother died when Viserys and Daemon were 8 and 4 respectively, and then Viserys says that their mother had no regard for custom or tradition, which is also odd as she was a girl who was betrothed to her brother at birth. I guess the show's events were drastically different. And then Alicent asks Daemon if he wants to go look at some tapestries, and Viserys and Daemon laugh at her.
Wait a minute. All of the tapestries we've seen in the show so far have been straight up orgies. Alicent just asked Daemon if he would like to go watch porn with her, and she gets mocked for being boring. Also, I think Viserys has the ability to fart on command. Is that part of being the blood of the dragon?
So Rhaenyra says she's going to go watch porn alone, and Alicent sits down with her and tells her that, your life is semi-okay as you get to choose your mate. And Rhaenyra replies that it still sucks to be just a baby maker.
So I guess these girls reconciled off when Daemon was having that epic showdown with the crab feeder?
Yeah, those things happen simultaneously unless this counts as the reconciliation.
Does this also count as the epic showdown with the crab feeder?
So Rhaenyra suspects that Daemon is scheming, but fails to get much out of him other than him saying that marriage is political and that his wife is likely barren. And then at the small council, we find out that Corlys Velaryon is essentially causing just as much trouble in the Stepstones as the crab feeder, and has leveraged that into a marriage pact with the Sea Lord of Braavos.
Well, once again, Ryan Condal has taken a fairly large plot hole from Fire and Blood and fixed it.
This is true. Pushing the betrothal of Laena to the Sea Lord's son to after the war makes a whole lot more sense. Previously, the Braavosi were doing nothing about the Stepstones, which hurt them too, despite being aligned with Corlys.
And we're back with Chad Summerchild's secrets on how to successfully pick up women. So it's time to ask the woman of your affection out. I suggest leaving a dark, hard-to-see sack in a poorly lit room that is often cleaned by servants. Inside, you should have a costume for a 19th century Cockney shoe shine, and directions on how to open a secret passage in her room. Women love a good puzzle as much as they love finding out their sleeping chambers are not secure. She will definitely find that sack, choose to come, successfully navigate a labyrinth, and find you. It may seem like a lot of work, but it's all worth it when she says,
"Sean, you boots, Governor." So in our next scene, Daemon and Rhaenyra find themselves in Vastoth Rock during a great festival, with fights, sex in the streets, and circus acts everywhere to be seen. Though being mistaken for a boy by a drunk is what Rhaenyra finds most amusing. This is juxtaposed with Alicent dealing with crying babies, bathing an old man, and having passionless sex with said old man.
Right after she bathed him too. All that work gone to waste.
Meanwhile, back in Vastoth Rock, Rhaenyra and Daemon watch the most exciting play of all time. Here's the plot. A king makes his daughter heir, but then has a son. The end. Also, somebody pulls out a fake rope penis, so that's exciting.
There's people literally having sex in the streets.
Chad here. Many people ask me, when is the best time to take a girl to an orgy? And I say, date 1.
But yes, Rhaenyra and Daemon do end up at an orgy, and if you're confused about what exactly transpired there, well, the showrunners are confused as well. Michael Sapochnik says that Daemon is using Rhaenyra as a way to get to her father. Ultimately, his impotence in the scene is a reflection of the fact that he knows deep down that what he's doing isn't right. Meanwhile, Claire Kilner says he thinks it's shocking to her, but she doesn't get shocked, she gets excited by it, and when that happens, he has nothing, and basically he can't handle not being in charge or in control.
So you're saying the showrunners have no idea on what's going on in Daemon's head, but they have consensus that his dick isn't working. So then we have this scene with Alicent noticing some rats on top of her bed, which means
it's time for Sweet Robin's Theory Corner. So the rats we see in the Red Keep in this episode are clearly supposed to represent the watching eyes of spies. But the rats may also be showing us that the Red Keep's rat catcher, Cheese, isn't spending time catching rats. Because instead, he's spending his time spying. Cheese is a parallel character to Varys, as he knows the secret passages in the walls of the Red Keep very well. But also Laurie Strong is a parallel character to Varys, being the eventual master of whisperers and having a rhyming name. Regardless of whether or not the showrunners choose to make Laurice and Cheese the same character, the rat above Alicent's bed is some dark foreshadowing of what's going to happen to her character later.
So next we have Rhaenyra brazenly walking into the Red Keep across this huge courtyard, with the first person spotting her being Criston Cole.
Why didn't she take the secret passage back?
I don't know, maybe she wanted confrontation? The courtyard scene is pretty insane. No guard on the battlements spotted her. Security in the Red Keep is horrible.
Well, I don't think there's much to worry about. It's not like anyone has any ill will towards our characters. Anyway, next we get some very inappropriate workplace sexual harassment, which puts Sir Criston's life in mortal danger, and I would feel bad if he weren't such an absolutely horrible person.
Some sexy time then happens, and am I the only person that's imagining that it's Laurie Strong looking through here, touching himself?
We then get the bombshell that Mysaria is working for Otto Hightower, which makes us wonder how far back this relationship went. Was she the cause and source of the Air for a Day incident? Is their very meeting Otto Hightower's doing? What is the true cause of Daemon's impotency? Daemon wakes up in Mysaria's company, and it does seem their relationship is soured.
Ghosting a person for 3 years will do that. I wonder how long she was on Dragonstone before she realized Daemon wasn't coming back.
And then Otto has the task of telling Viserys that his brother and his daughter were at a brothel together.
Yeah, Viserys isn't happy, but the bigger thing is the growth of the diorama. Oh my lord, that thing has grown. Who's responsible for dusting the middle of that?
So Alicent overhears the whole thing and confronts Rhaenyra about it. In front of a heart tree. Oh.
Actually, I don't get it.
Lying in front of a heart tree is an abomination before the old gods. I forgive any anachronism of having a werewood in King's Landing now. This is an awesome little Easter egg. It also brings back the beginning of the episode when Samuel Blackwood stresses that Westeros is the land of the first men where she has made her home. Rhaenyra is young and doesn't yet understand the world she's in. She is cursed now that she has sworn falsely in front of a werewood. Not to mention it calls back the watching eyes of the rats and parallels the doom of Alicent at the same time. The lies of Rhaenyra are then followed by the lies of Daemon, who claims they did have sex, though he's either just trying to get a rise out of Viserys or he's trying to get on the Iron Throne. We also find out that Viserys is even more of a dickhead as he would cheat on his wife all the time at brothels. And then Viserys and Alicent discuss the lies and swearing of Rhaenyra and Daemon, with the doom of Valyria framed in the background.
Oh man, even I got that one. I think I need to change my armor.
So then Viserys calls for Rhaenyra and shows her the secret One Ring inscription on the cat's paw dagger. From my blood comes the prince that was promised.
Yeah, he really should have shown her that in the pilot. But, wait a minute. Is Ryan Condal trying to fix the prince that was promised prophecy? Holy shit, I think he is. From my blood can be interpreted as Catelyn's blood. And her child is Arya, the prince that was promised.
I'm sorry, but Amos Bracken is the prince that was promised?
All this bullshit about Starks and Targaryens was a red herring. It was just about whoever cut their hands on that dagger. Though it's still too bad that we don't know who sent that cat's paw.
So then Viserys insists that Rhaenyra do the obvious and marry Laenor Velaryon. But Rhaenyra in turn insists that Otto be removed his hand. And so Viserys weirdly somewhat accuses Otto of maybe murdering his father, but if not that, certainly taking advantage of this situation to become Hand. By the way, in Fire and Blood, Balon dies of a burst belly over the course of 5 days after a hunt, but in the show the hunt is made to honor Balon being Hand, resulting in his handship only being 5 days. Also, Viserys finally puts the pieces together and realizes that Otto pushed his daughter on him, which... man, that guy's slow.
It took him 3.5 years to figure that out.
He never thought he'd remarry. And finally we get Melos visiting Rhaenyra with moon tea, and a little reference to the poorly brewed moon tea given to Lysa. Of course, with all of the lying in this episode, we actually have no idea if this tea is from the king or from Melos himself, and we don't know if the tea is actually brewed properly. Melos may be looking to make Rhaenyra sterile, and we don't even know if Rhaenyra drinks the tea.
Oh my gosh, the ambiguity is killing me!
But overall, major props to the showrunners for bringing Moon Tea into the story, a major plot point from Ice and Fire that was sadly cut from Game of Thrones. As the agency of women is a major theme of Ice and Fire, and control over their reproduction is central to the agency of women, Moon Tea should really be part of the story, and it further contrasts Rhaenyra's character with that of Alicent's.
Hey, does anyone know why the garderobe is clogged? What happened? My castle is trashed! Oh, Chadwick!